There are names in the underworld that aren't spoken aloud, not out of respect. Out of fear, John Wick was one of those names. The Baba Yaga. The man you sent to kill the boogeyman. For years, they thought he was done, retired, buried beneath grief and a fragile peace. They were wrong. This is the story of the night the Continental went dark, and the debt that should never have been called. It started with a coin, not gold, not the kind exchanged at the Continental bar for favors and safe passage. This was different, older, heavier, forged from melted-down markers, stamped with a symbol no one had seen in decades, the high table's first seal. It arrived at John's house on a Tuesday morning, placed on his doorstep like a newspaper. No envelope, no note, just a coin, and beneath it, a single word carved into the wood. Soon, John held it up to the light, turning it slowly in his fingers. His dog, a new one, a German shepherd he'd named Sadie, watched from the doorway, sensing the shift in the air. "It's all right, girl," John said quietly. But it wasn't. The Continental at midnight is a church for sinners. Quiet, reverent, the kind of place where blood is cleaned quickly and questions are never asked. John walked through the lobby and conversation stopped. Heads turned. The bartender, not Sharon, someone new, younger, froze mid-pour. Winston stood at the top of the stairs, waiting. "Jonathan," he said, no warmth in his voice, just resignation. "I was hoping you wouldn't come." "The coin," John said simply. Winston descended slowly, each step measured. When he reached the bottom, he looked older than John had ever seen him. Tired, worn down by years of managing impossible balances. "Walk with me." They moved through the Continental's halls, past assassins and criminals who parted like water until they reached Winston's office. He poured 2 drinks. Bourbon. Neither man touched them. 3 weeks ago, Winston began, someone broke into the high table's vault. Not the public one, the real one, the archive. They stole something that should never have existed in the first place. "What?" "A list. Every marker ever issued. Every blood oath. Every debt." Winston's eyes met John's. "Including yours." John's jaw tightened. "I fulfilled my marker. I'm out." "You are," Winston agreed. "But the list doesn't care about fulfillment. It only cares about leverage. And someone is using it to destabilize the entire underworld." He paused. "They've already killed 2 high table members. Made it look like rival families. The table is fracturing, and they're using old debts to turn us against each other." "Who?" Winston slid a photograph across the desk. A woman, mid-40s, sharp eyes, expensive suit. "Sophia's sister," Winston said quietly. John's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. "I didn't know Sophia had a sister." "No one did. She was erased from the family 20 years ago, excommunicated for trying to break the rules. She's been in the shadows ever since, building her own network. And now she wants revenge, not just on Sophia, on the entire system that cast her out." "What does she want with me?" Winston leaned back. "You're the only one who ever walked away, John. The only one who broke the unbreakable and survived. She thinks that she can force you back in, make you dance to her tune. It'll prove the high table is weak, that the rules mean nothing. So this is a test." "No," Winston said. "It's a declaration of war. And you're the opening move." The address came at 3 a.m. Not a location, a name, Marcus. John's hands clenched around his phone. Marcus had been dead for years, killed during the First War. But the message was clear. "I know where he's buried. Come alone, or I dig him up." The cemetery was in Queens. Old, forgotten. Rain turned the paths to mud. John walked to the headstones, hand resting on the Glock beneath his jacket, until he reached Marcus's grave. Simple, unmarked except for a single line. A friend. She was already there. Tall, composed. Her resemblance to Sophia was striking. Same bone structure, same intensity. But where Sophia's eyes held loyalty, hers held only cold calculation. "John Wick," she said. "The Baba Yaga himself. You know, I used to tell my sister stories about you. Thought you were a myth. What do you want? The same thing you wanted. Freedom. She stepped closer. But unlike you, I didn't get to just ask nicely and walk away. I was erased, hunted, forced to become something worse than what I was running from. That's not my fault. No, but you're the symbol of everything wrong with the system. You murdered your way out and got a happy ending. I tried to leave peacefully and lost everything. Her smile was bitter. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to help me destroy the high table from the inside. Use that legendary reputation to turn them against each other. And when it's done, when the whole rotten structure collapses, you and I will be the last one standing. And if I refuse? She pulled out a phone, showed him a live video feed. Winston, chained in a basement somewhere, bloodied but alive. Then I start with the people who helped you. Winston, then the others. Everyone who ever gave you sanctuary. I'll burn the Continental to the ground with them inside. John's voice dropped to a whisper. You don't want to do this. But I already have. John had 48 hours. He spent the first 12 tracking down every piece of information he could find on Sophia's sister. Her real name was Katerina, her network, her safe houses. He spent the next 12 calling in every favor he had left. The Bowery King, the director, even the remnants of the Rusker Roma. You're asking for a war, the Bowery King said over secure line. I'm asking for a rescue, John corrected. And then I'm ending this. And after, John was silent. After I'm done, for real this time. The exchange was set for the Continental. Neutral ground. Except Katerina had already broken every rule that mattered. John arrived at sunset. The building looked the same, elegant, timeless, untouchable. But when he walked through the doors, he knew immediately something was wrong. No staff, no guests, just empty halls and the echo of his footsteps. At the center of the lobby, Winston sat in a chair, hands bound. Katerina stood behind him, gun to his head. Around them, 20 armed men, professional, military trained. Glad you could make it, Katerina said. Now, let's talk about your new role in my organization. John stopped 10 feet away. Let him go. This is between us. No, John. This is between me and a world that threw me away. You're just a tool I'm using to tear it down. Then you've made a mistake. Have I? The lights went out. What happened next will become legend. They say John moved like smoke in the darkness. That every muzzle flash illuminated another body falling. That he used the marble pillars like they were extensions of his own body, ricocheting bullets, creating angles, turning the Continental into a tomb. They say it took 3 minutes. They say when the lights came back on, 20 men lay dead, and John stood over Katerina, gun pressed to her forehead. You want to prove the rules mean nothing? John said quietly, You're right. They don't. Not anymore. Not after tonight. Then kill me, she spat. Make me a martyr? No. John lowered the gun. I'm giving you the same thing I was given. A choice. Walk away. Disappear. Or keep fighting and die for nothing. He pulled out the ancient coin, the one with the high table's first seal. This was going to be used to control me, to prove I could be manipulated. But you know what? I'm tired of being anyone's weapon. He placed it in her hand. So take it. Cash it in. Buy your freedom. Or throw it away and keep bleeding. Katerina stared at the coin, then at John. For the first time, something cracked in her expression. Why? Because someone gave me that chance once. And I'm tired of watching the cycle repeat. Katerina vanished that night. Some say she went back to the high table, surrendered the list, and negotiated her own absolution. Others claim she took the coin and started over somewhere far away. John didn't care which. Winston was freed. The Continental reopened. The high table remained fractured but standing. And John Wick? He went home. 3 days later, a new marker arrived at his doorstep. John stared at it for a long moment. Sadie sat beside him, waiting. Then he picked it up, walked his fireplace, and dropped it into the flames. Some debts can't be paid. Some markers can't be honored. And some men just need to stop answering the door. John Wick had saved the world from itself one last time. Now he was going to save himself. He poured a drink, sat in his chair, watched the marker burn, and somewhere in the city, in shadows and smoke, the underworld whispered a new rule. Don't call the Baba Yaga. He's done answering.